All right, so I'm going to do every other one. So I did every other one carved, and now I'm going to do the slip trailing on these other ones here. And I've got my bottle full of slip. Now I would practice, like on the side, on like piece of paper or something a little bit, about like the thickness you want, if you want it to be bulgy, all sorts of things. So you can kind of like practice. It's a squirt bottle, so every now and then, just like ketchup, it's gonna like, do that fart, where it's like, that. And so we have to be aware of that and kind of like stop every now and then and shake it down to the front because it will do that for us. The other thing we want to do is before we start, like once we start doing the slip trailing, it's kind of like you don't touch it anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a sponge and we're going to go clean up the edges, make them look real nice and smooth. Maybe make them a little bit more rounded. So we're gonna clean up everything that we want to clean up before we start doing our slip trailing. So that way, when we start doing our slip trailing, we're not touching anything. Now, once the slip trailing is dry, we could clean up a little bit more, but we want to go ahead and get some of the major cleanup done because it'll just be easier. So I'm just taking a wet sponge and cleaning up my edges, kind of rounding them off. You see I got most of the paper off, but there's still a little bit, and that's okay. Like, it's just going to happen. You don't want to mess up too much of your design trying to get it off of there. Okay, so now that I've got this on, or all cleaned up the edges, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drape it into here. Now, this would also be a good time to put your name and class period because it's going to be really fragile once we get it let's see, we're 20, 21. Okay. All right, so then I'm going to drape it in here, kind of make sure it's even around the edges, and then I'm just going to press it down to give it a shape. We want it to be a plate shape / slightly divoted. We don't want it just flat. Flat's boring, right? So we want to press it all down and around in there. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're not losing your design at all while you're pressing. And then with the edge, mine hangs over a little bit, which is good. I can kind of flatten the edge a little bit around the edge, which I really seem to like. Makes it also a little bit more plate-like to give it that flat edge. I'm just using my thumb, nice, even, gentle pressure so that I'm not destroying any design here. Okay, all right. So I've got everything the way I want it, draped in there. Everything's pressed good. The edges are nice and flat. Now I'm going to take and start doing my slip trailing. Let's see if I can do this gracefully here. So I'm going to shake a bunch because I'm trying to squeeze the bottle. Now that it's, like I said, there's lots of grout in our clay, which is essentially, what did I say? Sand. So sometimes it gets clogged. Well, unfortunately, if it gets clogged, we need something to stick in there. And don't really have a whole lot out here. I'm going to try to just use my wire cutter. There we go, that might work. I used my wire cutter string and just kind of put it down the end, and hopefully it kind of pushes away whatever clogged. I also made this slip at home. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. So it was kind of chunky. All right, so I'm just going to start here. And you could do all sorts of designs. You could do, like polka dots or all sorts of things. I'm going to start off with just doing a line. And I think the faster you go, the better this is going to work. I'm trying to hold that up so you guys can see it, but I'm thinking that I need to set it down so I have more leverage here. Ugh, my It's really wiggly. But that's okay. I mean, you guys are getting the gist, right? Like, it's a raised surface. The idea is that we want the slip to be thick enough that it stays as like almost like puffy paint. I don't know if anybody has played with puffy paint before, but it was like an old thing that when I was in high school or younger, we used to play with puffy paint, and we'd paint our shirts and it'd have like the raised surface. It was really cool back then, 20,000 years ago. So then I'm just going to go around and do that with the whole thing. So you can kind of see, like, right now I'm kind of doing like little polka dotty kind of things because I'm having a hard time getting the clay. Ooh, see, it did that. So now what I could do, if I don't want that little blurb there, I can just take my deal and kind of brush it away. Maybe take a sponge and get some of that off of there. Make sure you shake down your clay so it's at the tip, and just start again. So the nice thing is yes, it does do this, but it's pretty forgiving because you can just wipe it away. It's just slip. It's just wet clay. And obviously, if I practiced a little bit more before I just started doing this, that would probably look better too. I don't like that part. And then you can also take your little carving tool, like I smudged this, and I can probably just fix that little smudge just by kind of carving it off of there a little bit. So it's definitely not easy, guys. Like, this is, it's a tough assignment. There we go. That's what I want to see. Okay. Yeah, like the faster you go with your line, the better, like the less wiggly it's gonna be. But you really got to make sure you got all that clay down at the bottom. The hard part, I think, is going to be doing like the last one. Ooh. I don't even drink coffee. It's almost like I had coffee today. But I'm trying to squeeze the bottle and write at the same time, so it's hard. I'm glad now that I left the ones for me to do here is the positive instead of the negative letters, because I think it would have been hard to see. So you guys are getting the idea here? I think this actually goes here. Oh. There we go. All right, so there's one down. And more to go. I think each one's probably going to get a little bit better and a little bit better. Oh, I missed a line. Why didn't you guys tell me? Jeez. There we go. Yeah, but I think like each one, because you get more and more practice doing it as you go, it's going to look better and better. But yeah, the last one I think is going to be hard. Because I am using my palm. Like I'm resting my hand on the rest of the clay. So just be careful you don't smudge it. Oh my. This is going to be something that I'm going to have to come back to too, because like my hand right here, the grip of my hand is getting super, super tired from squeezing. So it might be something where I have to do a little bit, like do this one and then maybe like wait for a little bit, like, 5 minutes or whatever, and then come back and do another one, because it's a tough one. All right, so you guys get the idea that I'm going around, and then you'll have raised, carved, raised, carved, raised, carved. And you don't have to do it this way. You could do like carved, carved, raised, raised, carved, carved, raised, raised. You could do where you just do the inside, like fillet or something, like you know, you can do it all different ways. This is just the way I decided to do it because I wanted to show you. All right, so that's how you do slip trailing, is you're just doing design with the slip trail bottle and makes a raised surface. All right, have a great day.